Okay, I think we can start. So, um, I think I left myself some notes last time on what we needed to do. Which I think we can probably do today, kind of quickly. I don't think this will take that long to do. So, yes, I think we can. Okay, I think this is that a priority? I don't know. I'm trying to think what's a priority here. We definitely need to distinguish. Okay, we should do that first. What's here? Oh yeah, I just added some comments, didn't I? Okay. So we probably want a enum type. Is that allowed? Let's hope so. Input, output. And then there should be an public type. Maybe there's a better way of calling this. Okay, I should probably call it signal type, something like that. And I think we can export that. And I think it will work. Let's see. It did. Okay, cool. So this is an input. This is an input. And this is an output. That was nice and easy. And then we now actually want to use this logic. Right. So yeah, which we can just do here for now. I think this is the only thing. Yes. A lot of ands here. Can we wrap them? And we should say and output dot signal type is dot output. Do I have to put a type here? That's kind of annoying. Okay, I think we might have to refactor how this class is working, because yeah, I think this is kind of saying interface to me, and it's not an interface at the moment. So yeah, we can fix that. I think we can fix that quite easily. But we just want it working for now. And then now we're just going to do the same thing here. And input dot signal type. Oh yeah, I should definitely be using an equals. Well, that's okay. Dot input. Oh yeah, and I think I also realized something. Well, we'll get onto that in a second. So now it shouldn't be possible to connect to this anymore. Yeah, that didn't do anything. Okay. That did something. That did something. Okay, I can do that. And then right click there, and right click there doesn't do anything. I could right click there. Oh, that did do something. That makes sense. That didn't do anything. That didn't do anything. That did something. That did something. So I think this is better. I still need to display to the user like what their currently selected object is. And there's loads of UI and highlighting stuff that needs to be done here. But I don't particularly care about that at the moment. I just want a system that works, right? And this. So that was 1, and that was 2. So I think what's happening is these both are visible initially on ready, okay, because I'm not changing them. But this light switch is defaulting to off, and I'm turning it on, and then it's just setting them back on to on. That was what I was just thinking about. So I think what this should do, I'm trying to think now. Go to what this is doing. Right, press down swaps the output value. But what's the output's default value, right? Is just the default value of bool. Right, so yes, exactly. So let's get rid of this working tree thing. I think it would probably be useful to have this be an initializer. Yes. Or to have some initialize. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Because I can't export this. I could interface it and export it in like df signal bool. I could export it here if this was an interface. But I think that's probably bad because I just wanted to keep these as one-liners because then it means that we're not too far away from having generic typing in our code. So I guess we could make an initialize method which initializes this value. Or this value, I suppose, to be the actual physical value from the spotlight or from the light switch. Right? So I suppose maybe on ready, I suppose that's true actually, right? So we connect this here. So I think just saying output.value equals, right, we can just, for now, it can be true. Or let's test it and put it as false. Now they should, oh, they're both on. That's interesting. Yeah, so as I suspected, this doesn't do anything. Right, even though we have connected this value. So why doesn't that do anything? That's an amazing question. Go to df signal, right, and on this just say okay, so nothing happens on startup there. Even though the output, yeah, what I'm confused about it now is the output. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense. So this value is defaulting to false. It's not changing. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. So I think it's actually an issue here. Right. Is that exactly, we have to do that. I think that fixes the issue temporarily. Yes, that did indeed fix the issue. So we now set the visibility to be this, but I think we should... I'm trying to think now, because you have like two separate nodes in our Godot scene tree, right? We have this output from the switch, and we also have this visible light. So what do we want to take precedence in when we're making levels, right? Do we want to be able to just turn this visible on and off and say that's going to define if the light switch is on or off? I think that's bad. I think I would prefer if the light switch's output was the source of truth. Right. So I guess we have to like force this function. We have to invoke it at the current value. Yes. Right, so we like set up whatever's listening to this output to be at the current value. Right, so that connects that, but then right, and now we have this. So this output on value changed connects to this. I think that might work. Right. Yeah, I think that does actually work. And now I think we can remove that. So I think what will now happen is this will invoke this output's value to change. I don't think it will work. Yeah, I think this won't work. But we'll try it anyway. Yeah, it didn't work. Okay. So I think we want, just to make things easier to understand, we want to have initial state, right? And I'm going to assume for most lights they want to be on. That also helps us because, yeah. So we want to make, I think we just maybe want to do this like this. Okay, what? Let's make it false for now. So what you want to do is you want to say output value is false. And then I guess, I mean, for now, we could probably just budget and say input value is also initial state. Maybe, well, that didn't work, so why not? You just make this to a block body, and I just want to print, and that's actually doing something. It never does, okay, amazing. So input on value changed. Oh, I guess because this, yeah, this light switch, this might be getting done. That's true, like this line defines the behavior of the spotlight, but this line might not actually be run because it's in a ready before this light switch stuff gets done. So we might just be changing the value and it doesn't matter. So I think, yeah, I suppose you can kind of get around this by saying this is the input.value. right? Like, if only we could export this, it would be so nice. But, like, I really don't see how. Yeah, like, that's just obviously not going to be supported. But that's effectively what we want to do, is have a default value here. So exactly, if I changed visible to be the input.value on ready, I think this now might work, but in like a fragile, annoying way. Yeah, there you go. Right, and now that works like in sync, and we can connect that there. Now they both work. Right, and we can disconnect this from this. Disconnect this from this. And now only one will turn up. So that's fine, but I don't like how that's doing it because I don't understand the order of operations here, which is bad because it's kind of fragile. So, how do we fix that? That's a great question. So yeah, I would like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking this might want to be an interface now. How do interfaces work with like generic typing? Okay. So you can do something like this. That might be the way, because then, yeah, I think that might be the way. Okay, so yeah, if we want this initial state to be false, I mean, we could also call deferred this, but I don't really see that being amazing. Okay, well, it works for now. And let's say if I... Right, the light switch's initial state is all that matters. If I turn this to be on, let's see if this works. Yeah, cool, and the light switch is on, and this doesn't matter. Right, we can connect this to this, and now, how does that act? We turn it off. Yeah, I suppose that's a reasonable way for it to behave. Okay. So I think I'm just going to commit this because it works for now. Actually, let me just test if I mess with the order of things in the scene tree. Does it still work? I think it probably does. Yes, it does. Okay, and yeah, like this. Okay, yeah, cool. That works. Also, I think I should probably make this raycast a little bit longer. Maybe like 3 meters or something. Oh, I made it plus 3 meters, but not minus 3 meters. Okay, so now, yeah, we can just connect things a little bit further away. Okay, so I'm just gonna say connections, right? Like only allow connections to be made from an input to an output node. From an input node to an output node. Cool. And I'm not going to document this because this actually might go wrong. But for now, we know that it seems to work. We might have to change it. The reason I don't care about this is because in a second, we're going to have to change a lot of things. So we can go to notes and check what we've done. Yep, we've done that. Now, yep, I want to get rid of this. So yeah, so the problem is so yeah, there's a few ways of doing this. I think basically we have to know the type of the signals being stored in an element of the array, because otherwise there's no way to compare like a generic iConnections reference to another one because you don't know what the type is. So C# will just never allow us to do that. Okay, apart from in some bodge way, like using GUIDs. So I think there's two options. We either filter the array so that we only get the elements that are of the same type as what we're giving in, right? We only get the elements. Yeah, we can just add a type, right, to our connection. Right, well, I suppose it does have one, right? We can just say of type connection T, and then we can compare. Or, which is maybe a bit more cleaner, but it is maybe a bit slower. Or it doesn't matter though. Or we make, rather than having one list, right? Actually, I put it here already. We could have bool connections, we could have any number of connections, we could have int connections, we could have string connections, etc. That seems awful to me because it's just adding bloat. And I don't really see the need for it. I mean, actually, can this just be an IEnumerable? Might actually be able to be an IEnumerable. No, okay. I am doing list things with it. There's probably some way to optimize this where it stays an IEnumerable for as long as possible and then only gets converted to a list when you actually need to, but currently there's like 2 things in this list, so who cares? So, yeah, right, basically we can just go yeah, I think we can actually do this quite simply. Of type connection T. Right? Like, is that not allowed? Oh, it's a method. Oop. Okay, and now we have this connection T. So now, I don't know if C#'s clever enough to allow this to happen, but maybe. v.input equals input. It is nice. Okay, cool. Now, yeah, that's probably the simplest way. This isn't a massive bodge anymore. Right? Just knowing linQ things is just like 10 characters inserted and then it's solved. So we can remove these now. Okay, and we can remove this from here. This interface is not doing much, but that's fine. And let's just see if it does an error. I'm going to assume it doesn't. I don't see why it would. Cool. And specifically the behavior we've just changed is changing that. Cool. Creating new connections. Perfect. And now if we remove that connection, nothing happens. And if we go and add that connection, something happens again. Cool. So it's an easy fix. We can just go fix remove dependency on get instance ID in hackervision 3D dot connection and hackervision 3D dot iConnection. No, that's fine. Okay. Now we go to notes and we're done. Yep, I'm not going to do this at the moment because there's other things to do. Namely, I think we should get a video feed working. Because I think that should actually be relatively simple now. And it will force us to actually generalize the stuff that isn't general. For example, in here, when we're testing against this, right? And this kind of stuff here, where we're specifying the type, because we only have one type of signal currently. I want to remove that, obviously, because that's not the point in having a generic type. And I think the best way to force us to do that is to invent some other signals that need to be passed around. So, I think I actually have a model of a CCTV camera somewhere. But I'm not going to use that for now, because that's more complexity. So, let us make a table. Okay, cool. So let's just go table. Oh yeah, I suppose actually we already have a table. Let's dupe this one. Simplicity, and we don't need a laptop. Right, we're just going to have monitor table. Move this down here. And yep, let's make it like that. Yeah, that's fine. Right, okay, something like that. And then I guess we can have our... Just trying to think what's interesting. I don't know. Let's go to this new wall and add another static body and call it CCTV. And maybe mesh. Yes. Okay, and a box mesh. And we can move it over here and up a bit. Okay. So we can go 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, like I keep liking to do. Except I will change that in a second. Let's make it, yeah, something, I don't know. Let's maybe make it a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, this doesn't really look like one, but that's fine. And we can then, right, is that correctly? Yeah, that is correctly done. Okay. Perfect, and now we need to add a camera 3D. Let's spin this around. Minus 180. And also tilt it down a little bit. And then I just want to show that this works by adding something. Let's just add a mesh. That's a sphere. Right, doesn't really matter what it is, and it can be moved over here. Okay, I just want to know that it's pointing in the right direction. So in this new wall, we have the CCTV, which has a camera. Okay, and we can see a blob. Cool, let's move it up a little bit. And give it some, no, I suppose we can just do boxing, right? Okay, so we have this. Let's point it up a little bit. And then now on this, I'm going to add a sprite 3D. Cool. And then I'm going to add, yeah, so this will be a, oh, good question. I don't know how to do that. I want to pass a camera feed to here. But in order to do that, I need to make a new world 3D, right? I have to have, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm being silly. What else do we have? We have a texture. Oh yeah, there actually aren't many things, right? Oh yeah, also I remember a visual on-screen notifier 3D. Yeah. It's actually really useful. I should definitely remember this. But yeah, if we just touch 3D, Right, I'm pretty sure the only relevant thing is a sprite 3D. But maybe I'm wrong. Can't see anything else that would be relevant. What's XR camera 3D? Oh, for VR. Okay. Yeah, we have label 3D, and then we have sprite 3D, we have animated sprite 3D. Yeah, so I think trying to think now how I can do this. So can I just put a sub viewport here, put this camera 3D in? Right? Is that like a crazy way of doing it? I don't think so. I think that's a very reasonable way of doing it, actually. And now we can say, I don't know, maybe output's at 1920 by 1080, or maybe half of that. And now that can output, right? So pixel size is the default's like always just overly massive. I don't know why the default's like that, but it is. Okay, and I think we should change a few things. For example, it doesn't need any transparency, and it doesn't need to be double-sided. Okay, and we can just add a mesh. That's just a box. Right, move it up. And make it a bit flatter. Right, cool. Yeah, it's not perfect. Maybe just go monitor. Yeah, definitely not the most perfect thing in the world, but that's fine. So now we have this camera 3D. And we have a sprite showing it. But we don't want it to show all the time. So now we have to make a new signal, right? So, and we also need a new class. And we also need we don't need a new oh, I suppose we do. Right, we need a new input node from the CCTV. Yeah, we should make that fast. Right, so we can go, wait, what's the precedent for how I've done this? Is this an area 3D? Yes, it is. Right, and it goes to a signal ball. Right, and I guess our video stream class is literally just going to store a camera 3D. I'm pretty sure that's all it's going to have to store. Yes, so let's just do this. Okay, and reset its transform. Okay, to something like that. And we want to remove this, and we want to go to wherever DF signal ball is. And we want to dupe this. Oops. Copy paste, right? DF signal video stream. Right, we want this to be video stream. Okay, and yeah, this is all awful at the moment, but that's fine. CS, let's just copy this so we have the top bits. And yep. Right, we literally just want it to... Okay, well actually I don't know what I want it to do for now, so let's just leave it there. So now this is going to be DF signal video stream. Cool. And then at the monitor, we want to have an input. Yeah, let's maybe make this separate. And we can copy paste this, and we can remove this, and we can remove this as well. We want it to be DF signal video stream. Input into monitor. Okay, let's reset its things. Why is it so weirdly shaped? Oh, okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, let's make this 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, and reset the collision shape. Right, and we can go here and, yeah, it should probably be local. Put it down. Right, and imagine this is like, I don't know, some network hub. Okay, so this is indeed that. Now we need to define how the monitor works, right? So it needs to get, yeah, exactly. And that's where our definition of what video stream is going to do is going to come into play. So actually, let's not do that because we need spotlight, right? I also really want to fix this. I think it's awful, but yeah, I'll do that in a second. And yeah, I also want to get the light switch up as well. Oh, not this one. The simplified light switch. That's like, whoa, that's a lot of stuff. So, yeah, I'm just thinking I could like separate out iSimplified device into like iController and iReceiver or something like that. But I think it's probably best just to let each class define the inputs and outputs that it wants to deal with. Yeah, I would agree. So, also, like I'm aware this scene tree's awful at the moment. I'll fix that as well. Let's actually put that on our notes. Okay, organize folder structure and scene tree structure. I'll do that once I've implemented this thing. So we can go exactly new simplified devices, just call this CCTV. Okay, and I don't want that. We can take this namespace and we can go to, right, we're going to effectively need exactly the same as what this did. CCTV. It's not going to be eye interactable though, right? This also isn't needed. Output of the CCTV, right, which is a video stream, and then input into another device, also a video stream. Okay. And our initial state, yeah, well, I suppose that doesn't really mean anything now. I think, yeah, the issue I'm having is that this class really wants a constructor to initialize its value, but because we're having to export it at the moment, can't do that, and you just generally can't do constructors with Godot, so we might need some initialize class for this. But we'll get to that. Okay, so we do exactly what we did normally. Cool. So this exactly just has a video stream output and has a video stream input. Yeah, and I think we're going to actually have to deal with this initialization thing in a second because previously we were just dealing with like lazy initializing this and it was just defaulting to false. But right now, this will just default to null, this value, right? Because there is no default for video stream class. So therefore, we'll have to actually deal with that, which is good. This is an output from Switch. This is output from CCTV now. Right. Yep, which is a DF video stream. And yeah, we're going to have to export this camera in a second. And now this input into monitor is also that, but we also need this monitor. Exactly, so we have to go to here to call this like this, and this is going to be analogous to the spotlight. So we can copy this here. Right, now this is the... Right, something like this. And we can move this up here. And we can remove this like this. And remove this, okay. And this is going to be a video stream player. A video stream, right? Is video stream Godot class as well? It is. That's kind of unfortunate, but oh well. That's why we namespace, I suppose. I can rename it. Okay. Actually, no, we're not going to rename it. Okay, so now the monitor should probably be the thing with the behavior, which isn't actually the mesh, the sprite 3D. So monitor, right? And maybe, maybe this should really be named screen, but it's fine. Just write it here. Maybe rename to screen. Rename this to screen, since it is a screen that's showing the information, not the monitor, but that's being pedantic. So we have this, and when the value's changed, actually no, it definitely should be, because it just removes an export that's going to be completely unnecessary. Okay, sprite, yeah, okay, go like that, and the on value changed a bit, right? This is a video stream. Yes, which actually I think, it might be better if this is actually a camera 3D, because then now this is actually a camera 3D. Yeah, I think that kind of shortcuts it. So what do you want to do? You want to go to texture. Let's move this so I can actually see it. Okay, we want to go texture. Okay, first, I might need a bit more than one line here. Okay, I want to go texture equals new. Texture 3D. A viewport texture, right? Viewport texture. Right, is new viewport texture. And I want it to come from that sub viewport, right? It's not this exactly. So it should be a sub viewport from V. Is that allowed? No. Okay. Yep. And you have to do viewport path. Path. Oh. Should do it like this. Viewport path, right? Equals V. Dot get path. Okay. Let's texture dot viewport path. Yeah, okay. Let's do, I think I'm doing new viewport texture. Right, because yeah, that's why. Viewport path equals v dot get path. No. Wait, what? Why doesn't it know what the thing is? It's a sub viewport. Right, is this a node path, right? Does it autocast? No, it doesn't. Okay. Cool. So lambda expression can be simplified. Okay, perfect. Right, am I not allowed to use this? I am allowed to use that. Okay. Now, yep, we don't want to have this. We're going to have to replace this with whatever system automatically initializes things, but this should make sense, I think, to me. So now this shouldn't be this, right? And our video stream is completely useless and not needed, I believe. So yeah, that's actually going to be an issue though, because it has to be in area 3D. Oh, I suppose so. Right, this is an area 3D. Right, it has to be an area 3D. The output has to be that. So I think we do have to encapsulate it, even if we say, oh no, I don't think we do. It can be DF signal sub viewport. But maybe that's a bit worse. I'm trying to think the best way to do this. So it could be DF signal sub viewport, but maybe that's bad encapsulation. And yeah, I kind of would agree that's bad encapsulation. Okay. Yeah, I think this is fine. I don't see a massive issue with it. So we're now just going to have here, right? Yeah. What we're going to need is a public camera 3D. Right, actually, I think this kind of seems stupid. No, this should be sub viewport. But I think we would have to do something equivalent to it, however we worked it out. And I think this just makes sense to me. Right, so let's just see if that builds. / compiles. I assume it would. Okay, and then, so now we set up all the signals, which is perfect, okay, and we can connect everything in the editor. Right, so we have this monitor, whose input is going to be input into monitor. Right, and we have our output from CCTV, right, which is fine, but it doesn't actually ref anything at the moment, which is bad. Yes. So now I think we can kind of be inspired by our shit code earlier. Right. So we can do... Yeah, I don't think we actually need this. That's fine. Okay. There'll probably be issues, but we can bodge this for now. We'll need to... initialize, right? We need to initialize this in this output. Yeah. Yes, we do. So maybe, yeah, maybe there's a better way of doing this, where this serves as the constructor, right? And on ready, yeah, I think this kind of works. Right, so we have to have this serve as a constructor, right? So actually in our DF signal, right, we should have public abstract void initialize. Oh, that will fuck everything, won't it? Because, oh, will it? Actually, it might not. It might not. That might be a good way of doing it, but as, you know, the further I go, many times I've said, should definitely just be an interface, but we'll get there. Okay, so yeah, I probably want sub viewport, right? And then I want to, exactly, so I want to call initialize in here. Okay, and I want to say something like this, must be called on ready, by anything which, by implementers of this class. Yep, okay, and I can just generate this. And what it should do is it should say value equals this. Yes. It should do value.subViewport equals that. Yep, perfect. Okay, and same here. I'm actually going to just not do anything here and leave this because I don't know how to implement this at the moment. Oh, that's such an amazing point. I don't need to write this every time because this already has a ready, right? It's an area 3D. Initialize. Cool. Okay. So we don't need this. And we can go back to this definition. And we can say automatically called onReady. Cool. So, spell error, that's fine. Actually, that's bad. I'll leave that. But when we initialize this, we set the value subviewport to be the exported subviewport, which is good. Yeah, and I'm kind of confused now. So our CCTV connects this, right? And on value changed, right? Exactly. We do this. Maybe this will work. I think this almost definitely won't work. But that's okay. So yeah. This definitely won't work for now, so what we want to do... I'm trying to think how to make this generic in a way that isn't stupid. So I think that... Okay, well, for one, we can just move this out of the class, right? I mean, I think we're going to end up with an interface in about 5 minutes, so we can put it back in a second, but we can just delete that. Okay, that removes that dependence there. And then I think we have to implement this, right? So I think we want this to be df signal. I think I might just rename this to signal. Nope. Okay. We can just name this... I don't know. A different signal. Oh, it's fine for now, actually. Okay. And I think what we have to do is we have to go to df signal. And now I think we have to go something like public interface iSignal. Right, and this has to implement iSignal. And I'm pretty sure we're going to move all of this behavior into here in a second, but maybe not. It's an iSignal, it's an iSignal, cool. We can move, exactly, we can move this into here and call this type, okay? And go, right, we have to have a type, signal type. And it has to be, yeah, we have to be able to get that, right? Oh, sure. Let's rename this to signal type as well. Oh, okay. We can't do that. Okay, and right, this should be iSignal.signal type. Oh, dot type. Okay, sure. And we need to implement that. Signal type, right, we just return this. Or are we even allowed to export this? Is that allowed? I mean, I feel like morally I am implementing this. But maybe we have to have an explicit get set. We do. Okay. Nice. So now we have a signal type. Right, so now we can just do iSignal dot signal type dot type. Right. I've kind of made this a little bit confusing for myself here, but that's fine. Okay. Now, yeah. So now this shouldn't be exactly, this should be an iSignal. And we have to go exactly. So now I think we've kind of fucked ourselves here because this type is maybe a bit, yeah, let's call this connection type. Okay. Let's call this connection type. Okay, and let's call it lowercase. Okay. So it fixes name violation into an error. That's lovely there. Okay, let's call it type. Dot type, right? Okay. So, and now, finally, we want a public T. No, we don't want a public T. We want a public type. Oh my god. Okay, I'm renaming this connection type. Type, and this should be called value type, right? Okay, cool. We need to get for that. Okay, so like the type of the value this signal sends / receives. Okay, and like the type, okay, you know, whether this signal out, yeah, inputs or output, yeah, outputs or inputs data. Cool. Okay. And yeah, we can implement that. Okay, and finally, hopefully we can just do that. Nope, can't. Does this have to be known at compiler? Oh, that's lovely. Look how completely redundant this looks as a line. Which is so dumb, but yeah. Like, what type is there like 4 times? Anyway. Okay. And input dot value type equals current output dot value type. Okay. And now, I don't know how to do that. Input is a variable used like a type. Exactly. Because I don't know if that's valid. Right. Like, we can switch this. This is not... I might just be lazy and look this up. How to use, right, a generic type in a function, C#, you know, without knowing what the type is at compile time. Okay, well, it's not possible unless you do weird reflection stuff, which I kind of don't want to do. So I think what we do is we just switch it, right? Okay, we just go input the value type, and we just go case bool, and we do this, and it will incorrectly indent, that's fine. We do break, and we do something like this. Bool, and it might complain about things, but that's fine. Type of bool? No. Oh, you have to do that thing. Okay. Type T. Where? When? T is type of bool. This works for now, but it's awful. Right, it's kind of just removing every advantage of generic typing once again. Right, I guess we do default. And we just throw new not implemented exception. Cool. Yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, like I can kind of see myself on that screen. There's no connection. Interesting. So I need a null reference. Ah, okay. Output. So let's just call this CCTV output instead of just sub viewport. The input into monitor also needs this. Okay. Nope, still doesn't work. Why is that? Oh, okay. CCTV doesn't have any outputs or inputs. Okay. Okay, that's one less error, and there is now a connection. Okay, it's backwards. Actually, let's just fix that being backwards. That's really annoying and kind of stupid. Right, you can just... I just changed this to a minus, right? There you go, done. Cool, and now these are actually the correct way around. Perfect. So now we have this, like, CCTV with a thing being connected to a thing, and it's showing this. And if we right-click here, and right-click here, doesn't do anything, great. And doesn't show an error either, that's quite annoying. Okay. So, let us print here, right? I mean, then we know what's going on. Captured, output node, right? We'll, I don't know, want it output.name or something? Oh, I suppose it might not even have a name. Okay, and I just wanted to look at other prints because I don't want to be gd.print. Don't want to be printing loads of stuff. Registering new connection doesn't aid us anyhow. Captured output node is exactly what we want, and we don't want either. Okay. And now we can say captured input node, input, and at least we'll then know if we're actually sending something somewhere. Right, so we have these connections. So let's see. If we right click on this, nothing happens. Okay. Yep, right clicking on that doesn't do anything. So, oh, because this is not set to be an output. Okay. Yep, now it does something. And it captures another output node, okay. Input into monitor is known to be input. Oh, I'm stupid. Yeah, I think there's a lot of redundancy here, but which is making the logic kind of confusing, so I think that should be refactored out. Capture the output node, capture the input node, okay, but then it errors, and it says it can't be casted because it's not implemented. Oh, because this is the value type, right? Dot get type, exactly. That's what I should be testing against. Yeah, exactly, actually. And I don't even need the value type, right? Because the value type is incorporated into here because we're not doing any. Yeah, okay. Should be something like this. Right, and now your what's the current output is an I signal. We just remove this, we don't need this. Okay, it's completely redundant. Okay. Now we capture the output node, and we capture the input node and it breaks again. Okay, so on EchoVision 3D 180, it says output.onValue change doesn't exist. That's interesting. So what's this type? Is this video stream? What's this type? Is a video stream. What have I done wrong? Oh, maybe kind of obvious. Like that. Oh, wait, is this? Okay. Nice function overloading there. I might actually revert that. I think it's a bit confusing. Perfect. Okay, and that disconnected. Still shows the image though. Okay. And then we can reconnect. Okay, so it does now behaviorally work, but it doesn't actually do the thing we want it to do. So, which is to do with yeah, let me get rid of these. Actually, no, that's kind of useful for now. Yes. I think the issue I'm now having is with initialization. And if I could solve how that works, then I think I'd understand more how to make things change during runtime as well. Because right now, that's not so easy. And that's why, yeah, that didn't work. So I think we need a null check as well in our monitor. So like if this is null, right? If v.subViewport is null, actually, let's just print if that's null. Okay. Because then at least, I think this is the condition. I'm pretty sure this is null. Let's check our beliefs. Okay, so like when I click here, it's not null. That's weird. Wait, so okay. What caused this? Right, the spotlight and the monitor? So this isn't null. Okay. Actually, let's bring that back. Okay, let's just run through what's actually happening. So, we know this is being called because it errored earlier. Okay, we'll try get existing and there won't be one, so it will be null. Then it will make a new connection. Oh, I know why. I think? No, I don't know why. Oh, okay. I get it now, I think. Because, yeah, what we have to do is we need to overload this. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because the behavior here is different to what a ball does, right? Like for a light switch. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this makes sense. I can explain this, I think. So, like here, our light switch's behavior, when you disconnect this light switch, right? Oh. Oh, I didn't. Okay, that's stupid of me, but that's fine. Okay, now this doesn't work because I didn't make this unique. Okay, let's go back a step and make this unique. Right. These should be, let's just make unique. And what's it? Like 0.5? No. 0.5 and 0.5, like this. Yeah. And then copy that like that and delete this one and rename this to be this. Okay, cool. And then the demonstration can begin again. Okay, so when you do, what? Okay, I've broken something else. What are we even, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, have these been changed into non-inputs or some stupid thing like that? Light switch. Output from switch. Yep. Okay. Oh, maybe, oh, I've renamed what connection type was. That's what it is. Okay. Cool, okay. So yeah, our behavior change when we do this, right, is literally just this light switch no longer affects anything when you click it. But here, right, which is what we already do in the code, we just unconnect the signal. But here, right, there's more, we have to do something else as well. When we disconnect this, we have to tell this sprite, hey, you're not showing anything anymore. So we can't just, right, we can't just connect the signal to say whether the values change. Like, that literally has no meaning in this context at all, right? There's no value to change. There's no button you press on this CCTV, right? There's no, if it's connected, you can't change the value, right? Whereas here, if it's connected, you can change the value. So actually, we have to change how connection is working, and what disconnect means shouldn't be defined in general. Right? Indeed, the on-value change signal is only really meaningful for balls. Which might kind of fuck our code a bit. But we can budget for now so that this works, and then we'll refactor it out so it's not awful in a second. Or maybe not today, but another time. Okay. So let's do that. So we need to go to where connections are defined. And we need to overload what disconnect does. Connection, video stream. Can I partial it? Is that allowed? Yep. And then public override void disconnect. Can I do virtual? Oh, okay, I have to make this partial as well. Oh, okay. This is kind of screaming interfaces again. Okay, I'm just going to write it and ignore the errors because that's like an architecture problem. And I'll deal with that another day because I kind of can't be bothered at the moment. So what do we actually have to do is say like... I'm just going to comment out what I want it to do. Send a signal to the anything connected to input to say that there's no input anymore. Right, I guess you could maybe do something like this. Right, and I'll say like non-nullable type, which is fair enough. So what I'll do is I'll go to video stream. Right, how do you overload defaults? That's an amazing question. I don't know how to do that. C# define a default for a custom class. Default value for a user-defined class, yep. Oh, you can't do it. Okay, because everything else other than null is a constructed instance. Okay, so it's default. The default keyword is just a way of getting like a typed null, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. But right, I just want a way of like listeners to this should know if this is null, then you should display nothing. I guess you should just do default T, right? Default of that. Oh, maybe default T then, I don't fucking know. Right? And then like this should also happen. Right? On value changed is actually useless for video stream, which is a shame. Because I thought that would be like a general thing, but now I've implemented this, I've realized that that signal is completely useless. Like there will never be a point where a CCTV camera changes its sub viewport to something else. Right? Well, it just doesn't make any sense. The thing is just static. So yeah. I guess we can kind of fix this in a way by maybe I'm trying to think how to do this. So I guess we can move. Yeah, I suppose so. Okay, I guess we can do something like this. Oops, okay, and then effectively just move everything in here. Okay, and then okay, maybe this is awful again. Okay. Oh, virtual. I don't really want to rewrite all of this stuff, every single thing I'll write. Yeah, okay, we don't have to do that. So, yeah, we can change this. Right, already does have this. And then we can call this a ball connection. Right, and we have a ball connection like that. And exactly all these T's change to a ball. It's going to break a lot of stuff, by the way. Yeah, that's like kind of wrong there, so yeah, we could do something like this. Maybe this is awful actually, but I can change all those things back to T's. Might be kind of useful actually. No, I don't think it is actually. This is kind of complicated. I don't know how to do this best. Kind of just want to give up and use inheritance, but feels short-sighted. Hmm. In this case, I think it's actually equivalent. Yeah, I'm just gonna write it as this for now. Okay. Oh, it shouldn't be read-only then. Why does it want to get rid of that? Okay, oh, yeah, that's nice. Oops. Okay, and yeah, I think this is actually kind of a somewhat sane way of doing it. Right, and this should be like this. Okay. On value change literally doesn't need to do anything. Right. Okay, so like nothing needs to be done. Okay, like yeah, the video stream value is expected to never change. Right, like the camera is all yeah, a CCTV camera is always yeah, it isn't modified. The camera feed, is static throughout gameplay. Like what's modifying is how you're using it. Okay, and then yep, we can have this. And now we've kind of fucked ourselves again because this needs a type now. Okay, let's rename this to a connection. And let's now make a public interface. iConnection, this is so awful. Something like that. Okay. What's using this? Nothing. Oh, I suppose that's broken that now. That's annoying. Wait, so our simplified connections, what is that a list of? It's a list. Like this should be a list of iConnections. Well, remove some errors. Nah, I think this is bad. I think I've truly fucked myself here. Right, because connection T was kind of... Oh. Oh, that's what I did to fuck it over. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm learning, generally, that Godot does not like generic types. Like, it's kind of impossible to make them work cleanly together. But I don't know how to fix that here. Let me go back until I had something that worked. Oh no, this works. Okay, let me actually try to fix what I have. Let's try to fix what I have. This is the behavior I want. It's just being represented in the wrong way. So, okay, this requires a type argument. Sure. Okay, now what's this saying? Let's get rid of this. Okay, off type connection T. Why is that bad? The non-generic type connection. Oh, okay, because connection T doesn't exist anymore. Wait, what? I connection? Where's I connection defined? Here as well. Oh, okay. They're just really far away. Okay. That's maybe a bit dumb. So what I want? I should remove this. I think this works, right? What do we have? This should be, if this is an interface, I think if we made things an interface, it might make life a little bit easier. But we'll leave it here for now. This is an abstract class, iConnection T. Wait, yeah, I think it does make it way easier. What do we actually need to access from this? Right, and then we could cast everything into an interface. Because all we need to do, right, the only function we need to use on it is disconnect. Everything else is fine. Now, what does this constructor actually do? Okay. Right, that doesn't need anything about the signal type either. So I think it's best we go here and go down here and make this I connection that's untyped. And do this. Oh, I don't know. Right, this should just be like this. Okay, let me rewrite this in a way that now I can see what I need to do. It's kind of complicating itself again. Right, this is now just an I connection. Right, and we'll have to in these things again. Okay, and now remove this. This is an I connection. Okay, oh, actually, yeah, sure. Is it just saying this is... Okay. This can now be a list of I connections. Okay, that's now completely useless. Okay, and now we have an I connection. Okay. That's fine. No, it's not. Okay. What have I done here? I've truly kind of got myself into a hole and I don't know how to fix it. I don't think I committed that recently. Okay, what have I actually changed? Wait, okay. Let's not fuck ourselves anymore. Okay, and then let's look at this and can I like revert? I'm sure if I actually knew how to do git, I would be able to just revert this file. How do I revert one file? Oh, okay. Okay. So now I don't know what I've done, man. I think this is a job for another day. I'll just put it in notes. Unmess. Okay, so like neaten up connections and eye connections. Okay, etc. Okay, and typecasting. I don't even know why I'm here. So yeah, I think that's it.